Baby John, the Cannoli King. The best cannoli on planet Earth. Or any planet for that matter. And here come the cannoli, ladies and gentlemen. How about some applause?
What would a Sicilian experience be without cannolis? And just so you know, it's from Cafe Palermo, John DeLugo, and John, also known in the neighborhood as Baby John, has been voted #1 by the Daily News 2 years in a row in cannolis in New York City. So he has it's quite a, I think that's pretty good, don't you? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, so when he comes in, he knows what he's doing, and must be doing something right. Introduce to you the owner of Cafe Palermo, Baby John. Johnny, please take the stage. Thank you.
I can tell you the whole history about the cannoli. So I'm here 41 years. I don't look that old, but I am old. I started in 1973. My mom had a little store across the street. She had a beauty and cosmetic supply store. She passed away at 39 years old in a car accident. And I took over the store. And I kept the store. It was $75 a month rent. And I kept the store. And every day I walked in the store, I would kiss the floor to remember my mother. It was our home. So it became my home. And one day I had $6 in my pocket. And I was walking home. I wanted to eat dinner. Where can I buy a dinner for $6? I went to Puglia on Hesse Street, and I bought gobble cell for $2 a sheep's head, $2 a half a head, and they wrapped it up in a dirty newspaper, and I took it home. And I'm walking down, it's the month of February, never forget, and I'm on the corner here with the umbrella. I got the gobble cell under my armpit, keeping it warm, and there was a snowstorm, a blizzard. My umbrella went inside out, the gobble cell fell on the floor, and I had people screaming by Ferraris, getting a Ferrari. And I turned around and I said, what could these people be waiting for? They're waiting online to get into a coffee shop. The next day, I opened up Cafe Palermo. It cost me $50 in those days. For 2 years, I served coffee and cake, and every night I take the cake and I bring it home, put it in my refrigerator, my grandmother's refrigerator, my neighbor's refrigerator, and here I am 41 years later, became known as the Cannoli King. How I became known as the Cannoli King, my customers named me that. My grandmother left me a recipe, but I experimented and I added a couple of ingredients to it, which they're phenomenal, they really are. I eat them every day, and I'm known all over the country. I'm on all the websites, you can read about me. The Daily News writes about me. I do a fantastic business. I have no regrets what I did in life. Mr. Seltzer became my neighbor a couple of years back. We became best of friends, he's a great guy. And we're trying to bring back this neighborhood a little at a time. Because the Italians don't stick together. If we stuck together, we'd be bigger and better than anybody else in this world. Not that I have anything against anybody else, but it's the truth. You know? And any other questions? Come on, I'm hot tonight. Let's go. Next. And that's how I started Cafe Palermo. $50 from a $2 dinner from Puglia's. Imagine.
Yeah, you said you knew a lot about the cannoli. Can you tell us about the origin of the cannoli?
Sure, I was a cannoli. It started in Sicily, Palermo, which my father comes from. My mom's Neapolitan, so I'm a mixed breed. I'm half Neapolitan and I'm half Sicilian. And they originated in Sicily, in Palermo, cannolis, okay? But the only difference is the years ago version as today's version we changed the whole pastry. The shell is made with red wine, as they made it years ago, okay? We make it by hand, we roll the dough, and we put a wooden spoon inside for deep frying. The only thing we changed is that we took the citrus fruit out of it, and we put chocolate chips in it. Because the younger generation today, and people of today, don't like the citrus fruit. Now, if you go to Albert's on 18th Avenue in Brooklyn, he sells the original cannoli with the citrus fruit. Does it taste like mine? No. But he makes a good product. You know? And that's the only difference. In chocolate chip, they took the citrus fruit out of it and they put a chocolate chip inside of it. But the shell, 95%, is actually the same shell. You know what I mean? Some shells are darker than other shells. That's because if they use the red wine, they might pour too much and make the color change in it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What are some of the memorable?
Take it easy, take it easy.
What are some of the memorable moments in history of Cafe Palermo for you?
Well, I just came out last Saturday and Sunday. If you buy the newspaper, you would have read about me. There was a whole page about me, about Cafe Palermo, and all the celebrities that walked through my doors in 41 years. And Teddy Savalas, Kojak, was my first customer. He paid 75 cents for a cannoli. Today, my biggest customer is Ryan Seacrest of American Idol. I have Chance Palminteri, Ray Romano, the woman from The View, millions of them. I can go on and on. I had a list. And not that they made me special. I make my own product. I make myself special. People come for me. Without me, there's no Cafe Palermo. The neighborhood's changed. Did it change for the better? Did it change for the worse? I could really answer that question. But I think lately people are smart enough to realize that Mulberry Street is an institution. You see, I'm married. Okay, I'm divorced, remarried the second time. I got 5 daughters. All my daughters are brains. They're all special kids. God bless, I was blessed with 5 great kids. They don't, except my little one. My oldest children don't want nothing to do with Cafe Palermo because I was never home. I worked Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, New Year's Day. They want a family. They're not like the old generation. We live, you know. But my little one wants to take over the business. But on weekends you work Cafe Palermo. You know, and but the neighbors have changed. I live in Staten Island. I love Staten Island. I got a big, beautiful home. I got a big yard.
Speak of Staten Island, I was Googling Italian populations around.
Staten Island's all time. Right?
Let me finish. I was Googling Italian populations in the United States, and the biggest Italian population.
Staten Island. Okay? Yes, you're absolutely right. You know, years ago, when our parents, grandparents came to this country, they had one dream in life, to make it. They wanted to build a home, mother and daughter home, and grow tomatoes in the backyard. And they did that. They came, my grandmother, may she rest in peace, my mother's mother, we still own the building where Lamella is. My grandmother paid $15,000 for that building. The restaurant, the block here. And she bought the building for $15,000, like everybody else bought the buildings around here. But my grandmother never needed the money, thank God. My uncles, my aunts. And till today, we own that building. The building was worth about $4.5 million. But the other buildings that we bought, like the Italians came from Italy and they bought, and they made Mr. Stabile hold all their money, which was the bank over here, okay? When the Chinese came, they came with shopping bags full of cash. So in those days, $100,000, $200,000 was like hitting a lotto for $100 million today. They took that money, they went to 18th Avenue in Brooklyn, and they bought 2-family houses, a mother and daughter house, and grew tomatoes. These buildings that they sold for $200,000 are worth $2 million today. $5 million stake. You know, so whoever owns the building today got lucky. I owe nothing but cannolis. You know, I never had the money to buy a building. And the real estate in this neighborhood really went sky high. Put it this way, Mulberry Street years ago, Mulberry Street today, 2014. It's still one of the safest neighborhoods on the map. Nobody fights around here, nobody gets in trouble, and that's the God's honest truth. It's a great neighborhood, it's a safe neighborhood. I own 2 condos here, I got lucky. I was born and raised there, next block. And all my kids want to come back and live here. You know, they want to come back.
Does anybody have any questions about the, you know, this is a one-time opportunity to really ask about Baby John, about the neighborhood, because anything you want to know about the neighborhood, whether it changed, what it was like before, what it is now. If you got a question you want to ask.
Was it like before? Years ago, there was a social club on every block. And social club doesn't mean we do anything wrong, just hang out playing cards. Hanging out with the guys. You know what I mean? The neighborhood's changed. The neighborhood has changed drastically.
But those guys were watching the neighborhood too, right?
Yeah. You know, you could have walked on a block. Nobody's going to. We're trying to start a little tour bus. I'm trying to start a little tour bus every day from 42nd Street to Mulberry Street. I already was donated the bus. I'm opening a camp for kids with cancer. For all the unfortunate kids. I have cancer myself, I'm in remission. So I'm building a camp, Dr. Joe knows that, up between Connecticut and Boston. I will donate the land, okay? And we take about 12 to 15 kids per year from the Ronald McDonald Home, and we take them with their families because we say, now I have 5 daughters, I got one from 13 to 34.
Wow.
And they're all old school. They're all good kids. Let me tell you a little story. I won't keep you long. 1994, my oldest daughter was 17 years old, I believe, or 16, 17 years old. And I come to the store one day, and my wife at the time introduced me to her boyfriend. His name is Rob. He's a good boy. Pleasure meeting you. Where you from, Rob? I'm from Jersey, Fort Lee, where my daughters live now. I says, fine. I says, why don't you come one day by yourself? We can have dinner, and we can talk. We get to know each other. Fine, Mr. LUTRO. I said, no, don't call me Mr. LUTRO. Call me Baby John. You know what I mean? He said, well, I feel uncomfortable. I said, listen, I'll be Baby John until I'm 105 years old. I don't feel bad by the name. And he comes to my store. And we go to Angelo's for lunch, and we're sitting down. I says, Rob, what do you do for a living? He says, well, I'm studying to become a cop. I said, that's a good job. He says, my father's a cop too. I says, well, I got nothing against cops, you know. You do something wrong, go to jail. I says, but I want you to know one thing. My daughters are my life. Yeah. I got a great son-in-law. She's married, and that's...
Anyway, welcome to Mulberry Street. Thank you for coming.
The San Gennaro Festival Cannoli Eating Contest Hollow Hal Last Place Award goes to the beautiful, the lovely Maria Edible, ladies and gentlemen, with a lemon cannoli. Maria Edible, ladies and gentlemen, give us some love. Going home with the 2011 Festa di San Gennaro commemorative Luciano Pavarotti box set with a new world record, a new Major League eating record of 32 CAFFE Palermo cannoli in 6 minutes. Patrick Bertoletti! 32 cannoli!
My customers named me that. My grandmother left me a recipe, but I experimented and I added a couple of ingredients to it which they're phenomenal. They really are. I eat them every day, and I'm known all over the country.